Hello and welcome to this presentation on creating presentations for online classes. My name is Al and I am the UNLV Online Student Support Specialist, and I'm going to talk you through a little bit on about the tools that you have access to as a UNLV student to create presentations. This presentation is going to go over Google Slides, Canva, and Microsoft PowerPoint. Really, we'll go over the basics, but it should be everything you need to know to create simple presentations in these programs. And we'll look at a little more advanced features too. And I'm also going to look at UNLV resources that you can use for support if you need. As a UNLV student, you have full access to the Google Workspace, which has some additional features than the free Google programs. The presentation tool you probably know is Google Slides. This is nice because it's pretty intuitive, and I feel like it's probably the easiest to use of the three. It's very easy to collaborate with your classmates, and it also auto saves as you go. PowerPoint is more advanced and there are more features. So if you need to do things like record your presentation, there in specific ways, there may be some additional features you can use in PowerPoint. It's also available for free as a UNLV student, and the online version is sort of like Google Slides. It also auto saves, and you can log into Microsoft Office 365 to access the programs online without downloading them, but you can download them. So we'll look at that in just a second. And then Canva, you would just have access to the free version. So we'll look at that in a minute too. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the resources you have as a UNLV student. The Writing Center is a great resource to help you write your presentation, what you're going to say, or what's on the slides. They can actually really help with this. So if you're feeling stuck about any part of creating the content of the presentation, the library is a great resource. And so are the UNLV librarians. The Com Lab is a free resource for students that can help you with presenting. So for the Writing Center, if you go to their website, unlv.edu/writing center, you can go ahead and schedule an appointment, or you can also submit to the online writing lab, the OWL, for some asynchronous help. They'll get back to you over email or whatever you prefer. You can schedule an appointment with a librarian by going to the library's website, library.unlv.edu, and then select meet with a librarian, and then you can choose who you'd like to meet with. They can help you with the content as well and doing the research if you need to for your presentation. And then finally, the Com Lab is a really great resource. It can be, you can access it virtually, and you would just want to come to their website, which I'll link in the YouTube description. It's a bit long, and select schedule an appointment. All right, moving along here. Let's go to Google Slides. That's how we're going to start. We'll look at PowerPoint and Canva as well. But to start, I'm just going to go to google.com/slides. You'll want to make sure you're logged in with your student email address just to keep everything organized under your student profile. And that way, whenever you come to Google Slides, you'll see all your previous presentations you've done as a student. You also have access to Google Slides through any Gmail email address. So if you're logged in with another account, go ahead and select your profile picture in the upper right corner and then select add another account. You'll notice a lot of templates available, but I'm going to go ahead and just create a blank presentation to show you how to go from start to finish. And they have added a lot of new features. I'm just going to create a blank slide for now. Don't forget to give your presentations titles just to make your life a little easier in terms of organization, so you don't have a million presentations labeled untitled presentation. Now, this looks pretty boring, doesn't it? So I would like to add a theme. You can just select theme from the menu, and it'll pull up all the themes that Google has just as stock themes. I like this one. So let's do that. Some kind of example content to put in here. So obviously, I've created some example content. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting that in. Okay. I'm going to create a sample presentation on how to succeed in an online class. I feel like that's appropriate for me. So let's just go ahead and spell that. Put the title in there, and then I'm going to make sure to put your name. Now you can select the new slide button to add a new slide. And if you right click on this and then go to apply layout, we'll see that there's a bunch of different layouts that kind of come with each different theme. So you might want to play around with that as you make your slides based on the different content that you have. I would recommend keeping your slides as clean as possible. You don't need to put a lot of text onto your slides. So let me show you an example. All right, so this is my first tip on how to succeed in an online class. You can select the formatting tools up at the top to add bullet points or change the font. Notice I'm not just writing paragraphs, just prompts for myself, because most likely you'll be presenting this. So you want some notes so you remember what everything you want to say, but you just want it to be kind of the basics of what you're going to say. Too much text can be really overwhelming for a viewer. And make sure that all of your bullet points are formatted the same. So if you want to add periods at the end, make sure they're on all the bullet points. Now, let's say I want to add another text box or an image or something, because right now this is really boring. You can just come up here, insert text box. Now, if you wanted to add more text, you could, but I don't want to add a text box. Instead, I would like to add an image. Now, Google actually has a lot built in. So if you select image and then stock and web, you can search right from here, which is another nice feature. You can even search Google Images right from here. So let me see really quickly here. Sure. So let me put that up there. And I probably would want to change this a little bit more. If you select format options, you will have some options about if you wanted to add a drop shadow or something like that, make it pop out a little bit. You can always change the font too. You might want to make this a little bigger, move the text box a little bit. So the nice thing about Google is it is pretty drag and drop. Um, Now I also want to, as I present the slideshow, have things not just appear. I want to add animations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select slide and then transition. I think I want them to slide, and I'm going to apply that to all slides. And then I'm going to add an animation. Let's see here. I want it to fly in from the left with the previous because I don't want to have to click anything. But I do want this text box to fly in from the left when I click. And then I'll add one more animation. Oops. The animations are added to what you're currently selected on. So let's see here. I'm going to fly in from the bottom with previous. Now you can see how this looks by selecting slideshow in the upper right-hand corner. And then you'll see that came on without me clicking, but now I need to click and those both come up at the same time because of how I formatted it. So play around with that and you can always change it. If you need to delete them, you can just select them and then delete. All right, I'm going to add another slide and I'm going to apply a different layout. And let's see here. I guess I'll apply this layout. All right, I kind of like that, but I need to add a I kind of like that, but I need to add a text box over here since it didn't come with one. And let's here. All right, add my bullet points. Great. Now, again, the bullet points are just supporting what I'm saying. So what you will say as a speaker might be a little more detailed, hopefully. So if you want to add notes, you can just use this slider up here and bring up the notes. So and you can add in your script. And when you present, I'll show you how you might be able to access that script. But you can select presenter view, and then it'll show you your script as you go. It'll also give you a time, which is kind of nice. All right. Now, let's say I am like, wait, this actually looks like horrible. I don't want this layout at all because it doesn't make any sense. So I'll just come here and I'll go apply layout and I'll change the layout. And now it should have kept my other text box, but now you'll just want to add in your other notes again and you can go from there. Now let's do one more slide in Google before we move on. Let's say you want to add some media, or you can even add audio to your slide that will autoplay when you start your slide. I'm going to show you how to add a video though. So if you go to insert video, then you can find videos from YouTube. And again, it's kind of nice because this Google is really integrated with the other Google where you would be finding all these things and YouTube. So it works where you can just put it right in. So I'm gonna, I don't even know what these videos are, but I'm just gonna say insert this video. And now this video is part of my presentation. I hear the sound of a ticking clock. I don't know if you could hear that. And let me show you how that will work. So when you come here, then you'll just be able to press play and that will play autoplay with your presentation. Now, let's say I realize I hate the theme and I kind of do actually a little bit as I'm making it. You can just select theme again and change it up, see what looks better, see what you like. So you can always change that. As long as you've got all your text box formatted right, it should stay. And then you might just want to update the images. Now, let's say you're done with your slideshow and you're ready to present it. Again, you'll just select slideshow up here. If you select presenter view, you can share the window of the presentation, but your view will open up in another tab. And then you'll be able to see what's coming up next and any notes that you put in. Now, if you need to move your slides around, you can just drag and drop them from the editor over here. And when you're ready, if you need to download it to submit it, you can just select File, Download, and then you can download it as PDFs or PowerPoint, and then you can move it into PowerPoint. Now, let's say you like this theme, but you wish it wasn't all these colors. You can actually edit the theme. What I like to do, the nice thing about this program too, is that you can just search the menus by selecting help and then search the menus because I never remember where everything is. So if you type in theme, then you can select edit theme. And now you can come in here and actually change the colors of the theme and make it however you'd like it. So that might make this look a little better. So obviously that's not, I would spend a lot more time on this, but you can see now that it's updated. And if I add a new slide and I apply that layout from that slide, it will still be updated to those colors. So that changes kind of like the default on the theme. So it's kind of something that might be fun. And then you can also insert audio if you'd like a sound effect to play, or if you have a voiceover, you can insert that into the slides too and play it just like the YouTube video. Okay, now let's move on to PowerPoint. So again, you have free access to Microsoft PowerPoint as a UNLV student. So if you go to it.unlv and look up the software, you can also type the address IT on UNLV's website, and I'll link this in the YouTube video as well. You can find where you can go download the apps if you'd like, or you can also just log right into Microsoft Office 365 online by using your ACE ID. So I'll put this link in the YouTube video description as well. But once you select it, it's going to prompt you to log in with your ACE ID, and then you'll be able to come here and use any of these apps. So I'm going to go ahead and use PowerPoint by selecting PowerPoint. Now, PowerPoint has different templates, probably a little bit more robust ones, and probably a little bit more as well. PowerPoint is a bigger program and it has a lot more features. And so it's a little more advanced, but you can also just create a blank presentation here. So let's go ahead and do that. And it'll look a lot the same. Um, you unfortunately cannot search the menus here, but if you go here, it's going to just automatically open the designer. If that's closed, you can just select designer and it'll give you a lot of options. And I actually like these a lot better than the Google ones. So there we go. Let's see here. Now, the designer is AI generated. So it's going to take your content that you've already put in there and give you suggestions. If you'd like to see just the stock templates that PowerPoint provides, you can go to the design tab and then select any of these. Now, this one, you can see the AI generated stuff is still here and I'm still somehow drawing. So you need to select out of drawing you need to select the mouse to go back to the mouse. So as you can see, there are a number of features that are kind of less intuitive than Google Slides. But let's say I don't want this AI, I'll have to come back here and delete it. And then you can go back to design and change the design, play with the different options. They have some nice ones here. So you can also add in images by going to insert and adding in pictures. You can also look up stock images or search on the web through the online version of PowerPoint. You can add in videos, similar to how we looked at in Google Slides. You can also add in audio. Um, Here under the transitions tab, you can add transitions to different slides. And similar to how you did in Google Slides, you'll just go to slideshow and then you can go from the beginning to see how it's looking so far. You can see that it's morphing into a blank page because I didn't put anything there. Yeah, it's great. So, and then you can add in animations to your text as well. And by selecting animations, and you can edit them on the side menu here. So let's see how that's looking now. So if you go to slideshow, slideshow, and then from beginning, there we go. Nice. All right. If you need to, if you need to download, okay. When you're ready to present, you can come to slideshow and then you can rehearse with the coach. And that's a nice AI feature that kind of tells you how you're doing and gives you some tips for different things you might want about your pace, filler words, your pitch, if you're talking about or really low because you're scared. It'll let you know and your pronunciation, and you can add in some other features here. When you're ready to download it, if you need to, you just go to File and then Export and download as a PDF, or you can as an image. All right, last but not least, let's go to Canva. As a student, you'll have access to the free version. So if you go to canva.com and just create an account with your email address, any email address, you'll be able to access it. And you can create presentations by just selecting presentation here. I really like Canva because they have a lot of different templates. They're created by people or AI, and you can also generate them with AI. But let's see here. Once you click into a template, you'll know if they're paid because they'll have this little crown. So anything that's free will not have that little crown. And so I'm limited a little bit here. I'm going to do this one. And you can apply all 20 pages, or you can just select one to apply one. And I might do it that way only because it can get a little overwhelming. To get back to your template, just go to templates, and then you can add another, and then you can go back to see all your other ones, and the recently used will always be there under templates. In Canva, things are called elements, everything from shapes to text to pictures. So a lot of times when you need to add different things, you'll want to be going to elements. But things are pretty intuitive for the most part. If you click on something, you'll see the color come up here, and you can just change the color by selecting the color button and then switching it around. And you'll also notice when you click on something that you'll get options for effects, animating, and aligning. So Canva is a graphic design software So whenever you add something, you may need to adjust where it appears on the page. So let's say I want whatever is here. Well, I want this to go to the back. I can send this backwards, and you can see now that this became bigger. Now let's me send it to the front. You can see now it's on top of that one. And then you can always change the way things are aligned on the page as well. But the animate is really kind of the nice one that makes it feel really professional. You can see, look, you can add in different animations. And then when you play your slideshow, it'll all appear like that. And I feel like it looks really clean. And then to add transitions, you'll just go between your slides, select add transition, and then you can choose between the different ones they have to offer and edit them and edit the different settings that they may have. And let's see here. I'll go ahead and apply that. Now, let's say I want to add a transition here. Oops. Add a transition. I'll go flow. And then you can apply it to all pages if you'd like to keep things consistent. To automatically add a layout from one of the templates, you'll just want to go back to templates, click in here, and then add in the layout. And if you'd like to change it, you can go ahead and add in there, but it will change your writing. So you might just want to make a copy. You can duplicate your slide by selecting the three little arrows and then say duplicate page, and then you'll have two of the same. If you'd like to use the same layout and just change a few things, that can be helpful. If you'd like to add different shapes or pictures, especially, go to elements and then select photos. And then you'll be able to add in any photos. Again, you're looking for ones without the crown. So let's say you wanted to add that for some reason. Now, this photo is all triangle, but this one's not. How do I get it there? Well, all you need to do is really nice. You just drag and drop. So Canva, that's one. Canva is really intuitive that way. You just drag and drop into different picture frames. But if you want to add a whole new frame, you will need to go into elements and then, where is it? Frames. All pictures need to be in a frame, but you have a lot of different options of how that looks. So I'm going to add that computer. I'm going to go back into images. Gosh, sorry. Oh, there we go. I'm going to go back into images and I'm going to say education. Something I look for every day. And I'm going to find one that doesn't have a crown and I'm going to drag and drop it. And there you go. And then I can add an animation to that. It already did it automatically, which is kind of nice because it'll kind of keep everything consistent. But as you go through, you might notice some things didn't get an animation. You can always add them that way. And you can do the same thing with videos. So when you search for something here, you can also go back to elements and select videos. You can change your text or add text box using the text one here. And then you can upload your own photos by going to upload and then upload files. You can see I've uploaded a lot just from my work here. There you go, nice. So that is kind of nice. You can add as many as you might need. And you can also go to Google Images and just copy paste pictures too. So if there's not something here that's free that you can use, go to Google because probably there will be something free that you can use. When you're ready to present it, you'll just select present. And then you see it just automatically did all that. And then you can just go through your slides like that. You can also add notes by selecting notes. And then you can also add a timer if you'd like to keep yourself on track. And you also do have access to audio if you want to add in any sound effects or anything like that. You'll just need to go to elements and then audio. And you might test out some of these different options here because they have some cool things. You can also collaborate with your classmates by selecting share, copying the link, making sure you update the access so that anyone with the link can view, edit, or comment, and then copy that and send that to your classmates or friends or teacher. And then you can also download as a PDF or other formats as needed. And then just like download, and then you'll be able to access the PDF. So that was a really basic rundown. I do hope that was helpful. I'm definitely here to answer any questions or work through any presentation that you might be working on. I would love to help if you need any help. You can reach out to online students at unlv.edu. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.